Hey, I'm Alex Lam, and in this episode of Stories of the World, we're going to be talking about the dancing plague of 1518. That's right, there was a time in history where there was a disease that made you dance to death. I know this sounds totally made up, but it's actually a very well documented in 16th century historical records. So let's get to the story. It all started in July 1518. A woman named Frau Trophea began to dance in the middle of the street in Strasbourg. No music, she just began to boogie. Witnesses said that she seemed to be dancing to some internal melody. She danced for hours and eventually her concerned husband began to beg her to stop. But Frau Trophea, in some sort of trance, ignored her husband and continued to bust moves. Eventually, she collapsed of exhaustion, but upon waking up, she resumed dancing. Her feet began to swell and bleed, but it never deterred her from dancing. Now this continued for an entire week, and by the end of the week, over 30 people had been affected by this dance disease. At this point, the city authorities were alarmed. There's just a group of people dancing continuously in the middle of the street. What the hell was going on? So they launched an investigation and concluded that the dancing disease is caused by hot blood and that they should allow the victims to just dance the fever away. So the town, in an attempt to help the victims, constructed a stage for the people to dance on. They hired professional dancers to keep up the mood and even hired professional magicians to keep the beat going. At the peak, it was estimated that over 400 people were affected. Eventually, many dancers collapsed from exhaustion and some even dying from strokes and heart attacks. The town, not getting the desired results, called off everything. No music, no stage, and no backup dancers. And instead they took a different route and announced that dancing and music was banned. Now it wasn't banned forever, it was just banned during this period in an attempt to buy some time so they could find a cure. Finally, priests and officials came to the conclusion that the people had been cursed by Saint Vitus, who died as a martyr during the persecution of Christians. The dancers, one by one, were sent to the shrine near Saverne to be cured. At the shrine, the priests put the dancers under the statue of Saint Vitus and placed the holy cross in their hands. Red shoes painted with consecrated oil, sprinkled with holy water, and put on their feet. The ritual was observed with the chanting of Latin verses and burning of incense. Curiously, this seemed to soothe the agitated dancers and help curbing their constant dancing. As word spread, more and more people were sent to the shrine for treatment, and within months, the dancing plague had diminished. Now in today's time, we know that it's not a curse, and it's still highly debated what really caused the dancing. The most respected proposal was made by John Waller, an associate professor of the Department of History of Medicine at Michigan State University, hypothesized about the cause of the dancing plague. In his book, A Time to Dance, A Time to Die, Waller has put forth the argument that the series of events were the result of extreme anxiety and fear of the divine. Since the dancers seemed to be dancing in a state of trance, it could have been brought upon by extreme psychological distress. According to him, people under stress tend to go into a trance, and combined with the belief in spirits, it led to the conclusion of being possessed or cursed. It was a time when people were suffering from poverty, famine, and diseases. It seemed appropriate that they disillusioned with life and in depression, causing their irrational behavior. So that's a short summary of what Mr. John Waller thinks. If you want to read the rest of his book, I've put a link down in the description box below. Now, what I find the most interesting is that the dancing plague is a very well documented in 16th century historical records. So at the time, they must have really thought that this was going to be a serious problem in the future. This just goes to show humanity has come so far. Now we can look back and even have people like John Waller go through the records and try to find the cause. But here's some questions I really want to know. What type of dancing were they doing? Were they breakdancing, popping and locking? or maybe the salsa. I don't know, man. That's what I'm more curious about. I mean, Frau Trophea must have had such a versatile dance library to be able to throw down for days. And do you think they had cipher circles? You know, in like Step Up 2, where one dancing plague victim goes in and dances a little bit, then he comes out and dances, and then another one goes in. Like, these are the real questions I want to know. So let me know in the comments below, what type of dancing did Frau Trophea do? So that's the story of the dancing plague. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to hear more stories. Be sure to check out my previous videos that I've linked on the screen now. I'm Alex Lamb and this is Stories of the World. Peace. Dancing plague, baby. Oh.